So you're going to die alone. The lone wolf theory. This may not seem like the cheeriest talk in the world, but bear with me, it is actually a little bit about empowerment. And like a few times I did pitch this as an article to a few women's magazines, and they all rejected it so they said it really fit in with their ethos, and no one really likes to hear about dying alone as an option. So I'm here to talk to you about being a lone wolf. Le loup solitaire. El lobo solitario. Being a lone wolf doesn't mean that you pack up all of your things and move into the woods, although that's a life option. This is more about making sure that you are your default setting. So, like with Tinder and other kind of hideous websites, there's added pressure for people to be in relationships or to set it out as a priority, making singlehood seem like the worst thing ever. But it's not, because like when things like the Big Bang Theory are still on telly, you know that that's a good thing to measure things by, and being single is in no way as awful as that. I remember the first time I was told that being single was a pretty bad way to live. I was giving a lift to a friend of mine for the sake of her privacy. We'll just call her Mariah Carey for now. And she said something like, "I'm really busy next week, but when Sarah comes home, she'll hang out with you. She's an eternal singleton too." An eternal singleton. At the age of 19, I kind of felt that was a bit abrasive, especially when someone is giving you a lift, Mariah. But even at that age, when you're meant to be at your most devilish, being single was being seen as being sad and lonely. And the older you get, especially if you're a woman, this gets worse and you're seen as a bit mad or for the birds. But the thing is, you should be you, no matter if you're in a relationship or if you're single. It's absolutely great to get the ride, and for medicinal purposes, it's really important that we all bang one out every now and again. And in relationships, like, we might learn a thing or two about feelings. We might even develop some extra but unnecessary emotions. But when you can see so many people around you getting so worked up about being single, it's distracting them from having the most fun that they can and from being their best possible selves. So, like with Tinder and all that shite, we can see how many people we know that are looking for love/the ride. Looking around the room now, you've probably seen a couple of people that you might have seen on Tinder. And it is like, you can realise that everyone is looking for it, and we all have it on our minds. It doesn't mean that everybody who wants the same thing as you wants to have the same thing with you. And that's fine. Because when we're opening ourselves up to this whole new world of online dating, it means that we're dealing with new levels of rejection. And maybe we don't need that at all. Maybe we all need to fucking calm down for a second. So, in the wise words of your mother, just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean that you have to too. So, like on Sunday evenings, when we're all in the throes of a hangover and we're wishing that we had a Sunday boyfriend or Sunday girlfriend, we open up the Tinder app for a few minutes and we just swipe left and left and left and left until we can't be bothered actually talking to somebody new at all. And we're left alone looking at these men with these awful, awful profiles going, why? Why? And also, like, side note, straight men, you really need to market yourselves better. You're doing a terrible job at the moment. So, statistically in Ireland, there are more women than there are men. That's from the census 2011. So when you remove everyone underneath the age of 18 and you try and somehow figure out the ratio of men who like men and women who like women and men who like men and women who like men and women, I think algebra is involved somehow in trying to figure that one out. No matter what our sexual preference is, there is a chance that some of us are actually going to end up alone. And that's all right. It's absolutely fine. Just think of all the things that you can do with all that time. Like now, just think for a second what you can do with all that time. Because being alone is better than actually settling for someone terrible. Someone who might have to explain the key elements of feminism to, someone horrible like that. And that is what some people actually end up doing. And you look at their lives and you're like, that is real sad. I could have been like you, but I chose not to be. So you don't need to have that level of misery in your life whatsoever. Or maybe you can until you can afford a divorce or a hitman. But settling is something that no one actually deserves. And while we all have our ideals in mind, we still shouldn't settle below that. Like my ideal is a rural fella with an urban edge. Think kind of former farmyard vet who decided to throw it all in to become a barista. That's my type. And according to my according to my friend Neve, there's probably about 2 of those in the entire world. So I'm not going to like worry my little head trying to find for my farmyard vet coffee barista man. He looks a little bit like the brother in Transformation or Transparent, because I'm not going to worry about that because my default setting is me, the lone wolf. I have it written here that I have to make a lone wolf sound, and I'm not going to do it. I know I will. Ooh. But I'm going to remain being me no matter what. And you see, the lone wolf theory, there's more to it than just choosing singlehood as a relationship status. It's about choosing to do things by yourself and becoming fiercely independent. Not in like a Destiny's Child way where you just buy loads and loads of watches for no reason whatsoever, but like in an actual real way, a way that makes you comfortable in yourself without feeling the pressure to follow the rules, to find a husband or to find a wife. Because a lot of magazines, they'll kind of promote this as like to take a break from the dating scene for a while, like it's an ill-advised juice cleanse. But the things that you discover about yourself when you're single are actually things just like spreading out over time and like investing in, because you are probably your best investment. Other than like a car, maybe. I don't know. But like in this time, you will like pick up some new skills. You could travel the world. You could watch all of The Sopranos in the space of 2 weeks, or you could do absolutely nothing at all, and that's absolutely fine as well. Because being a lone wolf is is choosing to do things by yourself instead of waiting around for other people to make up their minds. So to be a lone wolf, you actually have to be a little bit decisive. So if you are not decisive, maybe just kind of head out to the bar for a little bit there by yourselves while we all move on, the lone wolves here together. So like when you are waiting around for your friends to do things, like think of all the gigs or the cinema trips that you've missed out on because your friends are like, I don't know. But like the lone wolf misses nothing, not a beat. They see it all, they do it all. And there's a great like freedom in going to the cinema or going to a gig all by yourself, just upping and going. It's not really on a par with like moving into the woods and, like whittling bits of tree into a house. But like you choose your own pace, and that's kind of a nice thing. But unfortunately, lone wolves do get a bit of a bad rep because it's normally the way that most homicidal maniacs are described as on the news. But I'm going to reclaim that phrase for now and say that you by yourself is pretty great. And dying alone, well, it's going to happen most of us. It is. That's a fact. But don't worry, because we might die alone, but at least we are in that bit together. So, thank you.